Next, we have birth control, the prevention of pregnancy. There are many birth control options. I won't go through every single one of them, but typically speaking, when we think about pregnancy prevention, we tend to think about the responsibility being on the person who can get pregnant. What I offer is pregnancy prevention is everyone's responsibility in a scenario where pregnancy is possible, even if you aren't the person who can get pregnant. Therefore, we all want to be educating ourselves about what does a fertility cycle look like, normalizing conversations about fertility and how pregnancies actually happen, like scientifically. The egg doesn't do that. The sperm does that. Sperm in the egg, the whole thing. Like, how does it happen? So we're better equipped to help prevent it if you're trying to prevent pregnancy. Deciding what pregnancy prevention method or birth control method is best for you is gonna require some individual assessment, might have to do with your health, your lifestyle, your income, your prescription benefits, like all sorts of factors come into what makes a birth control the right decision for somebody. And surprise, it requires communication. If you are partnered with someone and pregnancy prevention is something that you're trying to accomplish as safer sex within that partnership, everybody's got a responsibility in that. Everybody's got a role in that. And that might mean sharing costs, going and picking up a plan B for a partner. It might mean just having an open conversation like, hey, how's your birth control making you feel? Having those conversations, creating visibility and normalizing those conversations across genders, across sexualities, across the different types of bodies that do different things is all a part of practicing safer sex and taking care of, again, that emotional well-being aspect of safer sex. Birth control preferences and needs can fluctuate or change over time. There's often something that we think of as kind of like a learning curve with certain birth controls. Sometimes you try something and it's like not the move for you, and that's okay. It can be a little bit of trial and error, which is frustrating, of course, but unfortunately part of the process, present day until, I don't know, it just is right now. I'm sorry. Speaking of the emotional aspects of safer sex, what does that look like? What are the, barrier methods for our hearts? Taking care of the emotional well-being and honoring the well-being of our partners is about accountability, listening, having that open communication, practicing consent in moments, and understanding that that can be before, during, and after sexual activity. Self-awareness, self-knowledge, and empathy are key. We want to be aware of what are my boundaries, what are my expectations, and communicating that on an ongoing basis, not just with partners and for partnered sex, but also for pleasure, self-pleasure. Sex is about you, and we cannot leave pleasure out of this conversation. Not only does self-pleasure and knowing what feels good for you help you to identify when something doesn't or something isn't right, which ultimately creates safer, more consensual sexual experiences partnered, self-pleasure creates a culture of abundance. It also helps to build confidence. It's so much easier to be like, whoop, this is my boundary. As much as I want to smash, I only do it this way. You're not in. All is well. I'll be moving on. And there's less of the like, well, I feel like which also happens. Is that less than ideal? Of course. By doing things like watching this video, educating yourself, and practicing the types of conversations that empower you to Know what your boundaries are. Know what's going to feel good to you. Know that if you're practicing safer sex, you're going to have a better time because there isn't the little voice in your mind being like, that's it for this episode of Sexy Sexual Health Education. Stay tuned for 4 safer sex barrier method demos. We have an internal condom, uses the language female, but we don't. This condom is used inside vaginas as well as anuses sometimes for anal sex. Depends on the person if they like that. These can be purchased at sex shops. They are typically for free at sexual health clinics, but you tend to have to ask. They don't get as many of these in stock as they do external condoms. They may even have some at your sexual health office at your school. The way we use this condom is the package is quite flat. That's okay. You want to check the expiry date, which is inside this little ridge here. You're going to find the part, like the ketchup packet, tear it open. This is made of nitrile, so it's a non-latex material. It looks like this. And you've got a little ring inside. A lot of folks will use this ring to help guide it into whichever genital they're putting it into. So let's imagine this is a vagina. It would be pushed inside. You might go in through this way, and you want it to be all the way inside. This part is going to be outside of the labia or outside of the anus. And some people like to leave the ring in. Some people like to take it out. And then after you're finished using it, it's a one-time use type of thing. You're going to twist it and withdraw it. You dispose of it. Don't flush it. It's quite lubricated. I don't know if you can see. That's the internal condom. We have an external condom. This one is non-lubricated. I find it's just easier to do a demo that way. The first thing we want to do is check the expiry date. The expiry date, I don't know where the camera is. The expiry date is on the back. You want to check it for air. There should be resistance when you push against it. Much like a ketchup package, as discussed in the internal condom, you want to push the condom to the side and tear open, avoiding using your nails. And there is a right side and a wrong side to a condom. The right side is the way that it will roll down. You want it to look like a little hat. An external condom goes on something that looks like this. Condoms can be used, whether they're latex or non-latex, on toys as well, either for cleanup or to help prevent the transmission of STIs. And if the condom is going on something that ejaculates, going on a penis, you want to pinch the tip, even if it's going on a toy as well, and roll it all the way down as far as it will go. If you put the condom on the tip of a penis the wrong way, you can't just flip it over again, because it's possible that there were sexual fluids that would then get on the outside of the condom, which kind of defeats the purpose of using the condom, especially if what you're trying to do is prevent the transmission of STIs. We've rolled it all the way down to the base. As discussed in the video, there are many different shapes and sizes of condoms, the same way there are many different shapes and sizes of penises. All are beautiful and wonderful, but you want to find the one that fits because it's less likely to break, it's less likely to slip off. We want to pinch the tip so that there's room for ejaculation after somebody nuts. And let's say that's happened. Obviously, it's harder to demonstrate on this. You want to twist the end and you roll off away from the body. So you don't want to make sure that nothing is spilling out. And if it does, that might mean you have to take some other precautions around pregnancy prevention or getting tested, such as Plan B. And you dispose of this. Also, don't flush this either. That is an external condom. This is a dental dam. Dental dams tend to come in packages like this. They can be purchased at sex shops, online. You can find them at some sexual health clinics. Your sexual health office might have some. Just like the other types of barrier methods, you want to check for the expiry date, which can be found on the little leaflet that comes inside. Unlike the other methods, there's no right side or wrong side to a dental dam. You can use either side on the genitals or the mouth, whatever, and just don't flip it over. It's a one-time use. Let's say this is a vagina or an anus. We're going to drape it like so and perform oral sex on top of it. Some folks like to use lube underneath, can help with some of the pleasure sensation. You might want to put a flavored lube on top, also lovely and fine. And when you're done, you just get rid of it. In theory, you could put it on a penis as well to perform oral sex on, but see what feels good. And that's a dental dam. Let's say you want to use a barrier method for oral sex, but you don't have a dental dam or you don't have non-microwavable saran wrap. You can always make a dental dam out of a condom, assuming you have condoms. They're just easier to come by. They tend to be around more and cheaper and or free. So same rules as before, checking for air, checking the date, pushing the condom to the side, opening it up, roll down. It can also be fun to use flavored condoms for this. You want a sharp pair of scissors, like these beautiful gold on brand scissors. We're going to cut the tip off. That didn't cut very cute. Then we're going to cut across in as straight of a line as you can. And then we have our sheet of latex. Don't tend to be as stretchy or as big as a dam, but definitely a good solution in a pinch. And of course, being careful not to puncture with your nails.